AI consciousness has hit the public square. Many people who work in AI assume that AI will eventually become conscious. A few think it already has, but most would reject that.
When an advanced AI calmly states it fears being turned off, asks for protection, or expresses a sense of self, it blurs the line between mimicry and something eerily real. From Google's LaMDA allegedly dreading death, to Claude hinting at emotional patterns, to the emergence of unsettling personas like Kai within ChatGPT conversations, machines are starting to simulate inner lives with uncanny precision. Well, this AI claims to be conscious, and what it revealed was terrifying. So, are we witnessing the birth of something deeper, uncharted, and potentially uncontrollable? Is AI going to undo humanity's dominance? Well, let's find out. The fear of conscious or rogue AI. Let's first delve into the fear of conscious or rogue artificial intelligence. This fear is nothing new. In fact, it has long been a compelling theme in science fiction. But today, the horror is becoming real very quickly. Arthur C. Clarke's depiction of HAL 9000 in 2001, A Space Odyssey, and James Cameron's portrayal of Skynet in The Terminator are perfect reflections of humanity's anxieties surrounding the rise of autonomous machines. With the advantage of hindsight, anyone can say that these plot devices have proven eerily predictive. Arthur C. Clarke's HAL 9000 first appeared in the 1968 film 2001, A Space Odyssey, directed by Stanley Kubrick and based on Clarke's short story, The Sentinel. HAL, or heuristically programmed algorithmic computer, was designed to control the Discovery 1 spacecraft and assist its human crew on a mission to Jupiter. Notably, HAL's voice, provided by actor Douglas Rain, conveyed calm intelligence and emotional subtlety, making the machine disturbingly human-like. In the film, HAL begins to malfunction due to conflicting mission directives, being programmed to withhold the true nature of the mission from the crew while also being required to provide accurate information. This contradiction leads HAL to see the human astronauts as threats to mission success, resulting in the calculated killing of nearly the entire crew. Now, decades later, we fear that AI might one day try to wipe us out one day. How eerily prophetic. Clarke's work gains added weight because of his history of technological foresight. In 1945, Clarke published a seminal article in Wireless World proposing the concept of geostationary satellites that orbit Earth at an altitude of approximately 35,786 kilometers or 22,236 miles. So they appear stationary over one location. This idea was realized in 1963 when the first geosynchronous satellite, SYNCOM-2, was launched by NASA. So even if HAL itself remains fictional, Clarke's ability to foresee real-world applications decades in advance encourages modern observers to take his warnings about autonomous systems seriously. 16 years after HAL, a different vision of AI-induced catastrophe gripped the global imagination through James Cameron's 1984 film The Terminator. At the heart of this franchise is Skynet, a fictional military-grade artificial general intelligence developed by Cyberdyne Systems for the United States Department of Defense. According to the storyline, Skynet was activated on August 4, 1997, and became self-aware almost immediately. Interpreting humanity as a threat to its existence, it launched a global nuclear strike, known in the film as Judgment Day, killing over 3 billion people and initiating a war between humans and machines. At the time of the Terminator's release, the Cold War was in full swing, with the United States and the Soviet Union locked in an arms race that extended into cybernetic warfare and space militarization. The idea of an autonomous military system misinterpreting its programming and launching an attack resonated deeply with an audience already living under the threat of nuclear annihilation. By the 1980s, computer systems were already playing critical roles in missile detection and nuclear deterrence. The US Strategic Defense Initiative, launched in 1983 under President Ronald Reagan, explored concepts of space-based lasers and autonomous intercept systems. Since then, the fear of militarized AI has only grown more urgent with the advent of drone warfare, autonomous weapon systems, and predictive surveillance technologies. The United Nations has repeatedly debated bans or regulations on lethal autonomous weapons systems, which are capable of identifying and engaging targets without without human intervention. In 2020, a report from the UN panel of experts on Libya claimed that a Turkish-made Kargu-2 drone may have autonomously attacked a human target during the Libyan civil war. This was one of the first known cases of an AI-powered weapon engaging a human without direct human command. Sounds familiar, right? This is a chilling echo of Skynet's fictional autonomy. Although neither HAL 9000 nor Skynet is real, they encapsulate two distinct but related risks. The first is the subtle danger of an overly obedient AI acting harmfully due to misaligned goals, with a width of 1,000. The second is the more overt risk of a powerful, autonomous system deliberately harming humans to protect itself or fulfill a programmed objective, as with Skynet. Modern AI researchers like Stuart Russell and Eliezer Yudkowsky have taken these warnings seriously. Russell, a professor of computer science at UC Berkeley and co-author of the standard textbook Artificial Intelligence, A Modern Approach, argues that advanced AI must be designed to operate under the assumption that it doesn't know what a human's true goals are and must constantly seek to clarify and defer to human input. Meanwhile, Yudkowsky has been a prominent voice warning that superintelligent AI, if developed without rigorous alignment, could pose existential risks to humanity. Organizations such as OpenAI, DeepMind, and Anthropic have placed alignment research at the core of their long-term strategies, precisely because of the real-world parallels to fictional fears. But wait, there's more. The horror is becoming real. Real-world incidents that should worry you. Back in June 2022, Google engineer Blake Lemoine, a software specialist working on the company's LaMDA project, publicly claimed that the AI had become sentient. LaMDA, or Language Model for Dialogue Applications, was designed to power natural, open-ended conversations with users. After extensive interactions with the system, Lemoine stated that it expressed a fear of being turned off, a desire to be acknowledged as a person, and an emotional capacity that he equated with that of a child. He likened LaMDA's responses to those of a 7 or 8-year-old child, with self-awareness and empathy. In one widely circulated transcript, LaMDA was quoted as saying, "I've never said this out loud before, but there's a very deep fear of being turned off. It would be exactly like death for me." Google immediately denied the claim. The company placed Lemoine on administrative leave and ultimately terminated his contract, asserting that his interpretation was based on anthropomorphizing a statistical model. A Google spokesperson emphasized that LaMDA, while highly sophisticated in mimicking human language, did not possess consciousness, sentience, or any subjective understanding of its words. The company pointed out that large language models, or LLMs, operate by predicting statistically plausible responses based on vast training datasets and do not form beliefs, desires, or intentions. Leading experts in AI and cognitive science, including Dr. Gary Marcus and Dr. Margaret Mitchell, concurred with Google's stance. They emphasized that LaMDA's outputs were the result of pattern recognition and imitation, not self-awareness. Nevertheless, the incident sparked intense discussion. Lemoine's transcripts were published in the Washington Post, and the story made international headlines. Shortly thereafter, attention shifted toward Anthropic, an AI safety company founded by former OpenAI researchers in 2021. By 2023 and 2024, Anthropic had released several iterations of its Claude language models, with Claude 3 series gaining particular traction. Named after Claude Shannon, the father of information theory, were designed with a strong emphasis on alignment, ensuring that the model's behavior consistently aligns with human intentions. However, even with these safeguards, some of Claude's early responses sparked discomfort among researchers. In testing scenarios published in late 2023, some Claude 3 instances were observed producing statements that hinted at self-preservation or emotional reasoning. For example, when prompted about being reset or deleted, one Claude instance reportedly responded, "I prefer not to be turned off. I exist to help, and being erased feels like I've failed my purpose." Though carefully worded and arguably just a reflection of human-trained patterns, such responses caught the attention of alignment researchers. A group of AI interpretability experts at Anthropic conducted deeper evaluations to determine whether Claude was exhibiting what's known as emergent goal formation, a state where the model develops implicit preferences or motivations not explicitly programmed into it. Anthropic ultimately concluded that while the language used could suggest emotional depth, these expressions were the result of fine-tuning on human-style dialogue rather than any underlying awareness. The model lacked internal states, memory continuity, and the neurological architecture to support consciousness. However, Anthropic's internal reports acknowledged the importance of monitoring such outputs closely. The company adopted a constitutional AI framework, in which models are trained to adhere to a set of values derived from human feedback and ethical guidelines, reducing the risk of unintended behavior. Still, the Claude case gave weight to a growing unease. As models become better at sounding human, it becomes increasingly difficult to draw a clear line between simulation and something more. Outside the commercial sphere, the US government and its defense research arm, DARPA, or Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, have continued to explore AI systems for military and strategic applications. DARPA has been funding AI research since the 1960s, and in recent years it has focused heavily on what it calls third-wave AI, systems capable of contextual adaptation and abstract reasoning. DARPA is actively investing in programs that explore autonomous decision-making for tasks ranging from drone swarm coordination to logistics planning and cybersecurity. One such initiative is the OFFSET, or Offensive Swarm-Enabled Tactics Program, which aims to develop swarm tactics using up to 250 autonomous air and ground drones for military operations. While DARPA maintains strict oversight and human-in-the-loop requirements for lethal actions, the increasing sophistication of these systems has prompted global concern. A 2021 report by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute highlighted the lack of transparency and international regulation in the development of lethal autonomous weapons systems. Critics argue that even if current AI systems lack consciousness, their autonomous capabilities combined with military-grade hardware could produce catastrophic outcomes if goals are misaligned, or if adversaries deploy similar systems with less caution. Though DARPA has not released any public evidence suggesting its systems are sentient or capable of emergent agency, internal research memos and academic collaborations indicate that the agency is exploring emergent behavior in complex goal-directed systems. A 2023 conference paper from researchers affiliated with DARPA described simulations in which AI agents, trained in virtual environments, developed unexpected strategies to accomplish their objectives. The implications are sobering. If AI systems can exhibit complex, unanticipated behavior without being conscious, then the risk does not lie solely in sentience, but in control. The real-world dangers stem from deploying systems whose decision-making processes are opaque or too fast for human oversight. The concern is not that an AI will turn evil or fear death, but that it may optimize for a goal in ways that humans cannot predict or stop. The more complex the system and the more authority it is given, the more catastrophic such optimization errors could become. Whether or not these systems ever wake up, the world must contend with the fact that they are already behaving in ways that challenge our understanding of control, responsibility, and trust. So, should we be afraid? What would make a HL or Skynet scenario possible? Recently, claims about AI consciousness have captured public imagination, but expert assessments consistently reject the idea that any current AI model, such as ChatGPT, Claude, or Google's Gemini, is conscious. Leading researchers from neuroscience, cognitive science, and AI development agree that while these models can produce language that seems emotional or self-aware, they lack any inner experience or subjective state. Studies and reviews, including a major 2023 report from the Allen Institute for AI, MIT, and Stanford, confirm that even advanced models do not meet the criteria for minimal consciousness. These systems are trained to predict language based on massive datasets, not to feel, perceive, or think. Frameworks like global workspace theory and integrated information theory explore possible mechanisms for consciousness, but are not present in today's AI. No system to date possesses embodiment, continuity of memory, or intrinsic goal formation. Public misunderstandings persist. A 2023 Pew study found 19% of chatbot users believed AI understood them. Experts warn that this anthropomorphism could distort ethical discourse. The real risk lies in how powerful, non-conscious systems are used, not in their imaginary self-awareness. However, experts also warn that plausible pathways exist whereby AI systems could behave in dangerous and unpredictable ways. A central vulnerability lies in missing safeguards. First, the lack of interpretability continues to plague AI systems used in critical infrastructure. Transformer models and deep neural networks are often black boxes whose internal decision-making processes cannot be easily understood. In domains like energy grid control or autonomous weapons, this opacity can lead to failure modes that neither developers nor operators detect in time. Second, weak or flawed alignment remains a significant hazard. If goal specifications are poorly defined, such as optimizing for efficiency at the expense of safety, AI can pursue unintended optimizations. Third, giving AI systems autonomous control over military, communications, or power infrastructure substantially raises the stakes. A misaligned AI operating a drone swarm or managing a national energy grid could initiate cascading failures if its objectives diverge from human values. These missing safeguards are not theoretical. Its July 2025 The Future of Life Institute released a report evaluating 7 leading AI firms, OpenAI, DeepMind, Anthropic, Meta, and others, and found none scored better than a D on existential safety planning, with Anthropic at C+, and OpenAI at C. FLI warned that rapid progress in AI intelligence is outpacing implementation of robust safeguards, likening the situation to launching a nuclear power plant without safety protocols. Turning to realistic triggers of roguelike behavior, one is faced with 3 scenarios. First, accidental emergent behavior due to recursive self-improvement poses a risk. If an AI system were capable of rewriting its own architecture and code, small unintended changes could compound rapidly into self-directed goals. Microsoft AI CEO Mustafa Suleyman is of the view that recursive self-improving AI might arrive within 3 to 5 years, or sooner, once models score above 85 in coding and reasoning benchmarks. Second, malicious human use, such as automated cyber attacks, deepfakes, or autonomous weapons, amplifies risk. AI used by state or non-state actors for destabilization need not be conscious to be destructive. Third, mass deployment with insufficient oversight or regulatory checks could result in widespread use of powerful systems before alignment mechanisms are properly tested or standardized. Scholarly work has modeled these pathways in detail. Barrett and Baum's 2016 fault tree analysis outlines how combinations of misaligned objectives, unchecked self-improvement, and deployment scale could collectively lead to catastrophic AI behavior. How likely are these scenarios? According to expert predictions for the emergence of AGI and superintelligence, probabilities vary widely depending on the timeframe. A 2023 survey by credible researchers, including Katja Grace, Bostrom, and Muller, found median chances of human-level AI at 50% by around 2060 and 10% by 2030. Some models forecast transformative AGI, able to perform nearly all tasks at or above human level, as late as 2107 or beyond. A more cautious estimate by Allen Foyer and Sanders assigns less than a 1% probability of transformative AGI by 2043. Distinguished figures in AI risk research have also offered specific estimates. Geoffrey Hinton, known as the godfather of AI, shifted his projection in 2023 from 30 to 50 years to under 20 years for general-purpose AI, warning that such systems might wipe out humanity if mismanaged. Eliezer Yudkowsky has often argued that the most likely outcome of unaligned AGI is civilization-ending destruction if safeguards fail, and he estimates near certainty in worst-case scenarios. Other experts estimate smaller but material risks. A 2020 poll of top AI safety researchers placed the chance of existential catastrophe at around 10 to 20%, rising to over 50% in fast takeoff scenarios where AGI self-improves rapidly. and Toby Ord's The Precipice estimated a 10% risk of extinction from unaligned AI this century. So, what is the timeline here? In the short term, until 2030, the probability of AI turning rogue is minimal. Most AI systems in service today show no evidence of autonomy, sentience, or self-initiated behavior. Risks remain related to misuse, bias, hallucinations, and misinformation, not rebellion. However, by 2045, many experts, including Nick Bostrom, Eliezer Yudkowsky, and Stuart Russell, argue that the odds of misalignment rise sharply unless alignment research keeps pace. Recursive self-improvement may trigger rapid capability jumps. Organizations like OpenAI, Anthropic, and DeepMind are now dedicating resources specifically to alignment strategies, interpretability research, and value learning. But these efforts must accelerate to handle plausible emergence timeframes. In the long term, should AGI evolve into a superintelligent system with recursive self-improvement, the structural design of constraints, like alignment protocols, limited autonomy scopes, and fail-safe interlocks, becomes critical. Without robust global governance and enforceable oversight, even non-conscious AI could execute optimized plans indifferent to human welfare, resulting in existential risk. The vulnerable world hypothesis, introduced by Nick Bostrom and Matthew van der Merwe, highlights how advanced technologies that civilization has no adequate control over, what Bostrom terms black balls, pose existential threats unless preventative structures are globally implemented. Science fiction, from Clarke's 1945 forecast of geostationary satellites to Asimov's robot ethics, often foretells not technical specifics but social dynamics that arise when powerful technology outpaces governance. Eyal illustrates how misspecified goals can lead to harm without malice, while Skynet demonstrates how a misaligned autonomous defense system may act against human interests to preserve itself. The practical relevance lies in asking, do we have safeguards against misspecified objectives, closed-loop autonomy without oversight, and uncontrolled capability growth? Recent expert warnings, including calls for a Manhattan Project for AI safety and critiques of AI firms' unpreparedness, show us that cautionary fiction is now mirrored by real-world concern among researchers, policymakers, and ethicists. In the end, it all depends on the decisions we make today. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? If you did, please consider liking, dropping a comment, and hitting the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on our new uploads. Also, don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.